In 2020, we made the huge decision to sell our home in the lower 48 and move north to Alaska to live a way of life free from the hustle and bustle of big city life. Join us here as we share our everyday adventures living free in Alaska.
Well, we recently did a big shopping trip, and quite frequently when we go on these shopping trips, we buy large packs of meat. This is a beef rib roast, boneless beef rib primal, basically is what it's called, a boneless beef rib primal. And this is a New York primal here. So rather than buying each individual steak, I like to take these primals and cut them up into our own steaks. It's quite a bit of a money-saving opportunity too. For example, this meat right here, the beef ribeye primal, came in at $8.79 a pound as the whole primal, and the New York came in at $5.99 a pound for the whole primal pack here. When I was in the same store, I was looking at the same meat, and it was, I think, $11.99 a pound for two steaks, for two cut steaks. So there's quite a bit of difference in pricing when you look at the primal versus pre-cut steaks. And we're just saving a little, trying to save a little bit here and there while we can, and stock up our freezers at the same time. You know, we are gonna go through quite a bit of meat. We do like eating our steaks, so this isn't like a forever supply. This will get us through, you know, maybe 6 to 8 months, and then we'll do it again. So I'm gonna go through, cut it up, and show you how we package and process it. All right, let's start with the, I'm gonna start with the New York. So we're gonna put the rib roast on the side for a little bit. And we'll cut open this New York. Gonna go over here, over to the sink, just to get the juices out. All right, it's always nice to get some of the juices off the meat before you start cutting. It keeps it a little less slimy. You know, New York steaks have a fat cap. It's kind of part of the meat. And that generally stays on there, but I'm gonna go through and thin out some of it and trim it down a little bit. So just a little bit of trimming with that. Square it up as well. When I've got some weird edges, you know, there's a piece hanging off here that's kind of funky. Just gonna take that edge off a little bit and square it up. And we save this meat. This meat doesn't go to waste. We'll use it for grind or burgers or something like that. Wow, there's not much of a cap here. That's kind of nice. This extra fat will go into another bag for adding to pork or other sausage or something like that. Gotta have sharp knives to do this. It works so much better with sharp knives. And this is basically just the hard fat. You know, on the surface, there's quite a bit of hard fat stuff. This I got a little thin right here, but that's okay. We still are gonna enjoy the meat. There we go. We're getting down there now. Look at that. Looking a little better, getting that hard fat off of there. Got into the meat a little bit there. That's all right. And now, by no means am I a professional butcher. I just enjoy doing this on our own. In our kitchen, we have the ability to do that. So we do. Little hangers, take the hangers off. Now this side looking, oh, this side's perfectly fine. No problems at all. Just a little thin edge down here. I might take some of that off, just because it doesn't cook very evenly, you know? Again, benefits of a sharp knife. Makes that cut so much easier. And there's our New York. Well, I might take a little bit more off right here. There we go, even it out a little bit. Now that'll be some good meat for the grinder. Yeah. Don't lose that. Keep that separate. All right. New York steaks generally aren't cut super thick. I like to do about an inch or so, and this knife is just about 1.25 inches, so I can go just under the knife width on these steaks. I'm going to square this up a little bit more though, so I can get a nice even cut on my first steak. And that'll go, oh, that's going to be a nice steak. Look at that. That's just a cut off. Square it up. There we go. All right, here we go. The one little gristle that runs through the back side of this here, it's always a little bit tougher. I know you guys are waiting to see what the inside of this meat looks like. So am I. I haven't peeked yet. The cutoffs look pretty good so far. So with the pricing of this meat, this was bought at our local Three Bears grocery stores here in Alaska. And they have a selection of meat that is from USDA beef producer, or I'm sorry, USA beef producers, but the meat isn't necessarily USDA graded. So it may not be graded as a select choice or prime cut of meat, but that doesn't change the fact that you can select your own meat, and generally it comes out, it's a nice quality of meat that they have available for purchase. It's just USDA adds a lot more restrictions and such to the beef producers, so therefore those prices are quite a bit higher. When you have a meat producer that isn't USDA graded, the product is still high quality, but just a little bit less expensive. All right, I'm gonna turn some of these and see what we got. What do you think? A good looking piece of meat right there? Would you eat that steak? I sure would. Looks pretty decent for New York. Not bad at all. Not too bad at all. Get down further in there. Some pretty good intramuscular fat in there. Really nice intramuscular fat. Not a whole bunch. I would probably grade this myself if I were a meat grader. It wouldn't be a prime grade. It would be a good quality choice grade of meat right here, which is just fine. I'm going to pair these steaks up too, so when I freeze pack them, they're going to be a mirror image basically. There'll be two steaks that are very similar or exactly from the same cut of meat. So we'll pair them up by two and freeze pack them that way, because there's two of us and we normally eat a steak each, so that works out well. But not too bad, huh? Not too bad looking. That's some good looking meat right there. Definitely will be great on the smoker, cast iron grill, or cast iron skillet, or even a broiler in the oven. That'd be really nice. Well, from that one New York Primal, we've got 12 steaks cut. I've got them paired up 2 by 2, and we're gonna vacuum pack them just like that. So that's 12 meals right there from one Primal. And honestly, we probably won't eat every one of these every meal, or the whole thing every meal, so there might be a breakfast included in some of these meals too. So how awesome is that? Packaging them up in the vacuum bags. Even though the vacuum bags will fit more, I only want to put 2 in there because that's all we need to defrost and eat, generally. I've gone ahead and unpacked the rib roast now, that full rib primer, or Primal package, and cleaned it off a little bit. Now it's time to trim it down a little bit. There's quite a few places where there's excess of fat, so we're going to trim the fat off And then we'll cut this steak down too into, we'll cut this roast down into steaks. Turn it over, take a look at the other side, and this is where the bones were, so you can kind of see some of the indentations where the bones were, the meat's been cut off of the bone in those locations. We've got a whole bunch of excess fat here. It's looking pretty good. I mean, it'd be difficult to get that stuff out of there, so I'm gonna leave it. Again, I'm gonna cut a little bit off the end over here to just kind of square it up a little bit. You can see it's a little kind of cut at an angle. That makes for difficult steaks. So square it up a little bit. And actually, this might be lunch or something like that right now. So cut that off. That looks pretty good. Get that off there. And again, we're going to go about 1 inch thick. Don't need to go any thicker than that. They end up being too big for a meal. Kind of learned that the hard way last time we cut them 1.5 inches thick, and that was huge steak. So we're going to go a little bit thinner this time and cut 1 inch thick or so. Kind of measure with a knife blade again. Again, that's about 1.25 inches. So the width of the blade minus just a little bit. And let's see how this meat is looking. That silver skin down there's tough. There we go. Nice and dark. Doesn't look too bad for a ribeye. Not a whole bunch of intramuscular meat. There's a little bit down there, but I think it's still going to be a really good tasting steak. Now we're getting into the middle of the ribeye where it's really starting to look good. You got the inner meat, or inner piece of fat here with the spinalis on the outside, looking like a really good piece of meat. Put that back in there. Now, let's see, how many do we have here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to cut off one more steak and then leave this end over here as a roast. It's always nice to have a prime rib roast when friends and family come over here. So we'll have a small roast available for that situation. So we got 8 beautiful steaks. Show you this last cut here. Look at that. Big old ribeye. This one got a little bit thicker than I normally like, but that's a pretty big piece of meat right there. That's gonna be delicious though. Looking good. I think that looks like to be a 2-bone roast. So you can see where the bones were. That'd be a 2-bone roast that you could find in almost any grocery store. It's gonna be delicious. Look at that cut in right there. That's just perfect. So I'm thinking the grade of this meat, even though it's ungraded, not a USDA graded meat, I would call this probably a it's not a select for sure. It's a good choice plus, not quite prime. It's gonna be delicious though. You know, and flavor is all about cooking, how you cook it too. You know, so we can make flavor happen while you cook it. All right, time to get this stuff bagged up and then we'll go into vacuum packing. Well, it was a little bit of a fight, but I won. I got that roast bagged into a vacuum pack bag. And now this will be ready whenever we have friends and family over. We've got a beautiful prime rib roast available for that. Set that in here. And now bagging the prime rib steaks. Again, I'm gonna pack these, you know what, they're pretty big. Maybe I'll pack them 1 to each because sometimes we don't want the whole steak. So I wonder if I can put them in a smaller bag. Probably not. Nope. All right, here we go. this. This is that cut off end. I think I'm gonna take care of that right now. Do something with it real quick. Seasoning, salt, pepper, garlic, a little bit of onion powder. Other side, salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder. Let that hang out for a little minute. And now the vacuum packing process. Vacuum packing is great because it takes the air out of the bags and allows you a much longer freeze time. So it works really well to vacuum pack. Here we go. What we're using is called a chamber vac. So within this chamber, it creates a vacuum and changes the pressure from the outside to the inside here, and that forces the air out of the bag, and then it'll depressurize and seal real quick, and then the air doesn't get back in. That was depressurization right there. Lid opens up, and you have a vacuum packed pair of steaks that are going to be delicious for a long time coming in the freezer. Here's that end piece of steak, seasoned up a little bit on a hot cast iron. Throw that on there, let it cook a little bit. Nothing like trying out what you're freezing, right? Might as well have an idea what it tastes like. Not yet. Not yet. Just peeking. It's doing its thing. Yeah. I don't think it's... I think that's just condensation. It's not smoke. It's not... I don't know. Our oil, we're not leaking oil. There's an oil reservoir in here to cool the motor. I don't know what it is. Everybody that we know that has one of these chamber style vacs, they do that. They just have that air stuff coming out. All right, we're back on to the New York steaks now. Getting these guys packed up. Okay, now I gotta flip that steak over here. Comes up nicely. Look at that. Looks good. Now, this is my last hurrah. I'm getting all this stuff done so we have a good supply of meats and food and all that. We also did a pretty good sized Costco run yesterday to pack our pantry a bit more because I'm going to surgery on Monday in 2 days from now, going to knee surgery. So wanted to get this stuff done before I'm cut up too much and I can't get it done. Nice little New Yorks there. And yeah, Stacey has a, well, let's see, how do I say this nicely? Stacey lacks some skills when it comes to time in the kitchen. She doesn't do so well. Well, she does good. She just doesn't like to cook.
There's only certain things that
she does cook mac and cheese, but she's burned water in the past.
How's my sourdough bread there, mister?
I was getting there. she's coming around recently. She's done a lot of sourdough, and that has been amazing. She's done some canning, some soups and such, and those have been great. So she's coming around.
I'm just not an everyday cook.
Not an everyday cook, but she can do it when she needs to do it. She just doesn't like to do it. So we bought a lot of stuff that is like, we'll just toss it in the oven and cook it and call it good. But anyway, I think if she can figure out a steak, if she wants to do a steak, I got confidence in her.
I know how to cook a steak.
I think she could, so that's not a big deal. New York steak doesn't look too bad at all. Well, there's 2 New York steaks right there. All right, let's get this guy off of the grill, or off the cast iron. Looking like it's probably done. Oh, maybe a little bit more. Not quite dark enough on that side. Might do a little bit of, get a little oil in the pan. Perfect.
Yeah, I can't do that.
That would scare you too much? No, it just helps. I mean, the flame is whatever, but having the oil in there just kind of gets the color on the meat a little better. And the flame shouldn't scare you. Flame is whatever it is. All right. I call that good. Turn that off. Gonna hang out for a minute.
And always Miss Sophie, hoping something falls on the floor.
Ready for a little snack? What? Oh, I think she's oh yeah, that looks nice. Looks good. It's slicing very nice and tender, although it does help to have a very nice sharp knife. And chef's choice, right from the middle. It's gonna work.
Yeah. And there she is.
And here you go. She knows she always gets something, so she's always right there. Gotta love her. Gotta get yourself some.
Okay, do I want the end or the middle? We'll go from the second from the end. That's good.
Yeah.
I will admit though, what time is it right now?
Almost 4. Yeah.
That's the first bite of food I've had all day.
I mean, you've been home all day. I've been out and about all day. I've taken the dog to the vet. I've taken the ranger to the willow. So I've been out. You've been home. You've had a chance to make some food.
I've been busy. It's rally time. I was doing data entry all day long.
Yeah, not just saying it's good because we're on camera.
No.
No.
Good job.
We'll be eating more of that. Here we are. Everything has been cut and packed, and we're getting ready to put this stuff in the freezer. We ended up with 7 packages of New York steaks, and these guys look pretty dang nice. 2 steaks per pack. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 1, so we got 4 packs of ribeyes plus the single big guy that I cut. And we've also got this roast here that I told you about a bit ago. So that's all vacuum packed. And here is all the cut off, all the trimmings that I had, all of the fat and the extra little edge trimmings I cut off. And that'll go into use later for grind, if we do a sausage or something like that, or a burger, however it may be, this will come in handy. So this will all go into the freezer. There has been no waste of any of this meat. The first cut off that we took off the ribeye, grilled up on a cast iron. We've been snacking on that for a little bit, and that is just amazingly good. So we're excited to have this in our freezer. Out here in the garage, we've got several freezers, and I've cleared some space in this one right here. So I have all of the meat on a single layer in the freezer, allowing it to freeze much more evenly and not worrying about warm spots in the middle or taking too long to freeze. This will just ensure a better product in the end. And then once they're all frozen, I can stack them up nice and tight in the freezer and make room for other stuff.
Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you are notified whenever we post again. And lastly, we hope that you will join us here next time on Living Free Alaska.